It's suffered some heat, not intrusion, but heat around it. These recorders are built for that. And just before we get the question, these recorders were updated from its original manufacturer. They are L3 Harris, installed at 2 different dates. We're going back and verifying that. But we feel comfortable once we get these to our lab in DC that we will be able to get a good readout of the applicable data, and that will be yet another point of information that will really help us understand what happened during this point of flight. So I would ask, though, if you have the opportunity to let the public know, we know there's a lot of debris out there. And it's in some yards, it's in some business locations. If you can have any debris or you see something that you think is from an aircraft, please contact us at the email address witness@ntsb.gov. Again, that email address is witness@ntsb.gov. Sometimes we get some very good information from items that are found, and with a debris field a half-mile long, we're still making the determination of exactly where and what parts of the airplane and where they're at. Now, be happy to take a few questions. Again, we are limited in the information. When you do, please tell me who you're with and what your name is. Tom, you made the trip.
Thank you, sir. Member Inman, can you talk about a photo that we've seen and video as well of what appears to be an engine sitting on the side of a road or on the road? Is that, in fact, do you believe that's the #1 left side engine? And separately, you talked about the black boxes that you've identified them, and they should be able to withstand heat, but can you describe what they look like and what, if any, marks, sear marks, black marks there are on those black boxes?
Okay, the first question was basically the engine that's been seen in some photographs. We do believe that that is the engine from the left side of the plane. It is actually on the airfield, so it's not off the airport property. That correlates with the video that we've seen of it detaching from the airplane while it is in flight. We also know that a fire was occurring during that time, and so we're analyzing that. In fact, we have teams right now that are preparing to do the runway in what we call a FOD walk. That is foreign object debris. Obviously, the runways have been shut down, but we need to not only take drone coverage and video coverage of where every piece of this is, but then we need to recover it and tag it. Those will give us even more pieces of information. So right now it's still on the field. We're making arrangements for that evidence to be recovered and stored in a secure location. And once we are able to analyze it, we may need to ship it off for specialists for things like that. But we do feel comfortable that we're going to get a lot of good information from it. What was your second part?
Judd, can you describe the physical condition, what you saw, how those black boxes actually look?
The physical condition of the black boxes. I've only seen one picture. You could easily tell that it was a black box, about 2 types of cylinders on top. Our specialists said they were able to easily identify that. We don't know until it gets to Washington, D.C. I will tell you that they're manufactured to a very specific standard. Luckily, they were not in a post-impact fire for multiple days or on the bottom of the ocean. So while the fire may have been intense, it is built to withstand that. Once we get them to DC and we can open them up and take these steps, and sometimes we have to take multiple steps. Now, it will be multiple, or at least several days before we have a readout of those, because as we take them apart, we need to let some of our groups go through and do what's called audition them, and then they'll come up with a potential or partial transcript, looking for identifying markers that we need to delve into further while we're on the ground. So, and as always, we will never be releasing the actual audio of any of those conversations out of respect for those who are involved in the aircraft.